Poker's legendary champions, next generation stars, and tireless ambassadors of the game, sharing their wisdom and guiding your journey to high achievement on the green felt. This is Tactical Tuesday on Chasing Poker Greatness with your hosts, Brad Wilson and Jon Chai.
Welcome, my friends, to another episode of the Chasing Poker Greatness podcast. As always, this is your host, the founder of ChasingPokerGreatness.com, Coach Brad Wilson, and it's a tactical day, so I'm joined by co-host Jon Chai for Tactical Tuesday. What's up, Jon?
How's it going, Brad? Doing pretty good. We got a double themed episode today. Some episodes we struggle to find a theme. This episode, too many.
Twofer.
Yeah,
2 themes. Wow. So, how did this come about? This is overachieving even for you.
This is what happens if you give me time to prepare. So we have first theme is ace 5 suited. It's a pretty common, I don't know. It's a pretty common like aggro hand to have in people's pre-flop range. So I think it's got to be like one of the most, I don't know, commonly and most exciting to VPIP hands probably. Just because of the nature of like what happens when you're VPIPing it. And then the real theme is just using Equilab again to determine whether I have enough equity to bluff catch on the river. And that's going to be a spot for both ace 5 suiteds, although the second one won't be on the river. This one will be, though.
All right. So, fair warning, I haven't seen either one of these hands, so don't really know what's going on, and I believe Jon's plan is to for me to construct a range on the river.
Yeah. Also, fair warning, I haven't done these equity calcs yet, so these could be absolute torches on the river.
Nice. Good to know. So we're all learning together. So breaking down the action, looks like you're playing 5-handed. Hijack opens to 22. You have the aforementioned ace 5 suited, which means you're going to be putting lots of money into the pot.
Yep, at least pre-flop.
Yeah, you 3-bet to 11 big blinds. The big blind folds, and the hijack calls. So 3-bet pot, you're in the small blind versus hijack. Flop is deuce 4 ace with 2 diamonds.
Deuce 4 jack.
Deuce 4 jack, sorry. Deuce 4 jack with 2 diamonds. You have the ace 5 of clubs, so you have a gut shot. I guess we'll start here.
I feel like I say this every time we get into like an out of position 3-bet pot PFR spot where I say like, well, you could just have like lots of different strategies here. This is going to be no different. I think there's lots of different ways you could go with how you structure your c-betting strategy or your betting and checking strategy on the flop. I decided to start out with half pot. I don't know. I think it seems like a pretty reasonable hand to start bluffing, given that we have like a gutter to the effective nuts, an overcard.
Yep.
Also, we have very little showdown.
Yeah, I would imagine half pot here is preferred. So you bet half, which is 113 into 230, and the villain calls. So now the pot just doubled in size to 460. Turn is the ace of spades. So you turn top pair with 5 kicker. And you have 875 behind. It looks like villains only has 818 though. So 818 effective, 457 in the pot. So I guess kind of an important decision here as to whether or not to bet or check.
Yeah. This is a pretty interesting spot. So we've like bet big on the flop, which, you know, I think narrows like our value range down to stronger Jack X and then Queens plus. Trying to think if I would have any other value hands that I have pot the flop. Probably not too many other than that. And so like that range on the turn, kind of like what does that want to do? I think like one of the more natural things to do like on this overcard turn with your entire range is just play check call and convert what I assume is mostly a range comprised of like bluff catchers now on an ace turn. I think there's like one small category of hand, which is like ace high hands that were bluffing the flop that now turn top pair, which is what I have now. And I think that's I think this hand and maybe like a hand like kings and queens are sort of in an interesting spot here where I feel like we have two options. One is again just play the check call strategy, and the other one is what I go ahead and do here is put out a tiny bet trying to eke a little bit of extra value out from hands like pocket tens, maybe like diamond draws that fold facing like 2/3 on the turn, although I don't know if that really exists. And then obviously all their jack X. Maybe even a hand like queens too. It's not, it wouldn't be surprising to see MP open queens and then flat facing a 3-bet from the small blind and maybe not raise a jack high flop. So
Yeah. It's an interesting spot on the turn. I imagine checking is probably the thing to do.
Yeah, I think it's very, very possible that I just got like way too excited on the turn with this like spot and like my hand, and maybe this hand like isn't even strong enough ace X to 1/3 the turn. Although I suppose if I'm saying I would do it with a hand like kings or queens, then like
I think the
5 should definitely get in there.
Yeah, I just don't know that I buy you doing this with kings or queens. But
I think it's much less scary once you have pot the flop.
It is, but like,
or the turn is much less scary once you have pot the flop instead of starting out with like a third or a quarter or something.
Yeah. I'm not sure, John.
Okay. Yeah.
I think like the standard decision would be to check. I'm not sure about the very small bet here targeting all of those hands for value. I think that villain probably has more ace X than you do after you have pot the flop. So yeah, I'm really not sure. But
interesting. You think like villain has like a bunch of like ace X that's sort of unnatural to continue on jack 4 deuce two-tone that like calls the flop? You think just like
maybe
ace
like
king just call
ace
just
3, ace 5, ace queen, some ace X of heart type hands that call the flop with like backdoor nut flush draw.
Yeah. Maybe like double backdoors like a hand like ace 10 of hearts.
Ace deuce.
Yeah.
Those hands can turn 2 pair. Like I don't think you bet ace king or ace queen on the flop half pot. So like you really don't have those hands.
Unless it's like diamonds or hearts maybe.
Yeah. So I think like I think the in position player has more aces in their range than you do.
Okay.
Which kind of leads me to just wanting to check here with your exact hand.
Yeah.
But what's done is done.
Yeah, that's probably like where I went wrong a little bit, was just assuming that they don't have a ton of ace X once I have pot the flop. But I guess now that you start like rattling off all these very normal ace X combos to have, it seems like I may have underestimated it.
Well, they don't need to have a ton, right? Like it's just you don't have very much at all.
Sure.
You have like very few, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, you bet a third on the turn. So this is where we're at.
Probably planning on just like checking all rivers where I don't improve, maybe even rivers where I improve.
Yeah, it's kind of like the weird thing here is like if you're betting and then checking the river, and like essentially their best hands are just going to play pretty perfectly. They need to have like, I mean, yeah, I think that like checking the turn and then betting the river feels much better against like their 10s, 9s, 8s, 7s type hands.
Yeah. But I'm hoping that like this size gets called by, stuff that has to bluff the river now.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Okay. Again, I'm not sure. Like they need to have diamonds, maybe some kind of gut shots.
Yeah.
I guess like trays or 5s. That
Queen 10 of hearts.
Queen 10 of hearts, maybe. Yeah. Well,
definitely checking this river. Jack of clubs.
Yeah. So you bet a third. There's 756 in the pot. You have 725 left. Or villain has 668 left. River's a jack. So promotes villains, flop top pair. And SPR is around 1. So yeah, pretty easy check. And villain jams. And so this is the point where you wanted to pull out Equilab to kind of go through this river calculation. Final board is Flop was Jack 4 deuce, turn ace, river Jack. There were 2 diamonds on the flop. All right, let's pull up the old Equilab. Trusty old Equilab. All right, so hands that villain can have everything input up to this point. So
Now just start with value.
Sure. Yep.
All right, so let's just start with like all their reasonable Jack X, Ace Jack suited.
Yep.
King Jack suited and Jack 10 and Queen Jack. Pocket Jacks.
You said Jack Jack. What else?
Yeah.
Queen Jack, King Jack, Ace Jack, Jacks.
Jack 10 suited. We'll just make this. We'll start with like a wide value range and see how I'm doing. 4s, okay.
4 should probably be in there.
Do you think he value bets Ace X on the river? Like the hands that you know, some of the hands like Ace King, Ace Queen, Ace 4. Maybe, I don't know about Ace 4.
No, Ace 4. I think Ace Queen would probably be the
bottom
one, but I don't know if they do or not. We can leave that out right now because I'm not sure.
No. Let's do a wide. Let's start with the worst case situation. So Ace Queen. I think Ace King is little. I mean, like they could have Ace King. It's not crazy to flat Ace King versus small blind 3-bet, but like he has to flat a small blind 3-bet with Ace King and then call half pot on the flop yeah.
All right, so we have Ace Queen in here.
Any value hands that we're missing?
Don't think so.
Okay. So now like the super obvious bluffs, all the diamonds.
Yeah, so the diamonds that didn't raise the flop, right? So King of Diamonds, Queen of Diamonds, Ace X of Diamonds is now like a pair.
Queen of Diamonds, 10 of Diamonds, like all the ones that like turn a gut shot. So
10
like
of Diamonds, Queen of Diamonds, 10 of Diamonds. You said Queen of Hearts, 10 of Hearts, so may as well give them that. King of Hearts, Queen of Hearts for being generous. 9 of Diamonds, 10 of Diamonds.
6 of Diamonds, 7 of Diamonds, 7 of Diamonds, 8 of Diamonds, 8 of Diamonds, 9 of Diamonds. Yeah. There's no way I can fold this river.
Yeah, so we'll give 5 of Diamonds, 6 of Diamonds too. All right, so we have all the suited connectors, some backdoor hearts, and then the suited, the combo draws that bricked out. And here on the river, villain bets
slightly less than pot.
Slightly less than pot. It looks like you need about 32% equity to call. Okay. So let's run our little favorable equity calc. So this is if they have Ace Queen in there and then have all the combos of the diamonds. Let's just for kind of
the hearts.
I'm gonna remove the
King Queen.
Remove some of the hearts.
Yeah.
Like King Queen of Diamonds, we can take out.
Because that would raise the flop.
Yeah, they're gonna raise some frequency.
Okay,
right?
okay, yeah. So just
remove a couple of them. So like 9, 10 of Diamonds, probably, likely. Ace Queen off, I don't know. I'm still on the fence about Ace Queen off. So let's just take this off. So that'll be good for bluff catching. Run it again. And now you're under the threshold.
31.
Yeah. So we removed King Queen of Diamonds, 9, 10 of Diamonds, and then Queen 10 of Hearts and King Queen of Hearts. So 4 combos. And we alternatively removed like Ace Queen off too. I just suspect that you're not going to win here often enough.
Really? What makes you what makes you think we're closer to like this scenario than the first one?
I think it's the half pot bet on the flop. Like I just don't know how many backdoor hearts are going to continue facing half pot.
Yeah.
I don't know like how many of their diamonds jam the river. Like we're assuming that like all these hands just jam when you go bet check,
Mhm.
right? But
Yeah.
I think like there's probably an argument for like king queen of diamonds that like like maybe I just beat the smaller flush draws or beat the busted gut shots.
The give
and,
ups.
Like, yeah, that then they can just like check behind, right?
Sure.
So to me, it just seems like this is like the more likely scenario
Mhm.
than the first one.
Yeah. Okay. So do all this stuff next time I get in the spot or a similar spot. Fold. I didn't fold. So
I mean,
it's good for me to learn.
yeah, like I just think that,
Or maybe the thing is just do a whole different strategy, right? Maybe maybe the
thing
issue
is, like,
getting here.
all of their value jams, right? Like every time.
Mhm.
That much is obvious, right? Like whenever they have a jack here, they're gonna jam. Whenever they have a boat here, they're gonna jam. So like all of their value jams. So it really boils down to like how many bluffs do they have in their range, and then how are they distributing those bluffs in each line that they have, right? If they pile all of their lower equity hands into like just calling the flop and calling the turn, yeah, then you have like a plus EV river call, slightly plus EV river call. If they start bucketing some of those hands into different lines, like they raise the flop, or maybe they raise the turn, maybe they don't bet the river, then all of a sudden it's hard to find as many bluffs, which is going to pull your equity down here on the river.
Yeah.
So like it's in a perfect world, you can bluff catch, and it's like a little bit profitable. And I think that in general, whenever you have such a situation where in a perfect world you're slightly profitable, that I would rather be safe and just fold, because like in an imperfect world you're getting absolutely destroyed.
Right. So it's like in this like perfect environment that we've constructed in Equilab, like we can barely call with ace five, right? And so like, but if one of our assumptions is wrong, then like now we're just torching, or could be torching.
Sure.
Maybe it's just a matter, maybe it's like our equity drops down to like 31% like it did here, and like that's like as bad as it gets. But like you could easily see a situation where like a couple more of our assumptions are wrong, and now we only have like 25% equity or something on the river facing this jam. Like maybe he just raises all of his flush draws on the flop or something. That would be disastrous for us, right?
Yeah. I also think that like the turn should just be a check and not a bet.
Okay.
We already covered that on the turn though, but I think like I think that's just kind of a critical point here. Like when you bet half pot, you probably don't have like ace king, ace queen in range, and so like you have ace jack, you have aces, probably don't have ace four, probably don't have ace deuce.
I like kings and queens. Yeah, but then I mean
you have
I thought that I
queens,
could bet
like,
kings and queens because I underestimated how much ace x they have on the turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you estimated it correctly, like, is betting kings like good if they have like few aces?
If they have a few aces?
If they have like relatively fewer aces, then
Yeah.
is betting kings even like good on the turn?
I don't know. I mean, I thought you can get called by worse hands. And
I mean, yeah, it's like the turn ace generally overfolded card. So because the turn ace is overfolded, we're gonna bet to target the hands that typically fold.
oh, but I bet a size that like I wouldn't typically bet when trying to make those hands fold.
Yeah, it just seems to me like it's kind of like forcing it.
Yeah,
like you're just like forcing a situation where like you probably shouldn't bet, and you're like trying to come up with like
some fancy,
a range that
cool,
justifies betting, when the reality is like just checking's the obvious thing to do, and so just check. There's no reason to like just get too complex here.
Yeah. That's definitely what it felt like, even as I was doing it in game.
Yeah. Well, let's see how you play the next ace five. I guess.
Wait. I call the river.
Yeah, you said it. Oh,
why
nice.
doesn't he just 4-bet preflop? Come on.
Well,
Then I just
John
live bet
calls.
and lose a
They have
different
ace
money.
king. John loses, and then we have another value hand to add to their range, which, by the way, this also shatters the perfect world scenario
right.
in the equity calculation because we didn't even have ace king in there. So,
And it's not even that crazy for them to have it, right? You don't like. I don't see ace king here, and I'm like, oh my god, like what? Like how could I have been this off? It was sort of just like, oh yeah, right. They have that. I forgot.
yeah, they're gonna have ace king some. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. All right. So ace five suited. Number
Down
two.
the drain.
Well, this one's down the drain. Let's see if we can make it up in hand number two coming up after the break.
Are you a lone wolf searching for the ultimate pack? The CPG Wolf program is a close-knit brotherhood hell-bent on one thing only: chasing poker greatness. Powered by bleeding-edge wolf strats and led by Coach Brad and his lieutenants, CPG Wolves are systematically prepared for almost any spot they'll encounter on the green felt. If you want to plug into an elite team and have a step-by-step game plan to realize your full poker potential, you can apply at cpgwolves.com. Space is limited, and the pack is only as strong as its weakest member. So only the hungriest, grittiest, and most driven will be accepted into the program. Applications are open at cpgwolves.com.
All right, we are back for hand number two here on this ace five suited episode. John, you want to dive right into the action here?
Yep. So another bluff catching spot where I had to try to estimate my equity on the fly. I have ace five of diamonds on the button. I open this small blind, who's a reg, 3 bets to $120. Not going to do anything else other than call. So we see a flop, pretty good flop. Jack 10, 8, 2 diamonds, flop nut flush draw and an overcard. Have SPR a little bit under 1, I guess. Or sorry, under 4. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't sure. We're sort of just like waiting to see. Oh, whoa.
Sweet mother of God. So
Whew.
the small blind just rips it for 900.
So there's a lot of spots where, like, on the fly, I know exactly what the equity requirement is facing a whatever size bet.
Right,
This is not one of the ones where I was like, oh, I know exactly how much equity I need to call this.
Yeah, this one's tough. So basically, you need 44% equity to call.
Okay.
That's the...
I knew it was over 40 because I know 2x is 40.
Yeah. So, yeah, like a 3.5x rip. You need 44% equity to call. I just don't think you can make it
What?
to 44% equity.
All right, let's get there. I will get us there.
All right. We'll again go back to trusty old Equilab. So pay no mind to the equity output right there. That's from hand number one, where John called with the ace of clubs, 5 of clubs. Give me some hands, John.
Aces, kings, queens.
All right.
Do we put jacks in there? I really don't want to put jacks in there, but
Then don't do it. Don't do it.
right.
I think that there needs to be at least some ace, queen of clubs.
Oh, yeah. Ace, the king, queen of diamonds.
Yeah.
All king queen? Can we give him all king queen?
Sure. Why not? Is that it? Is that that going to be the whole range?
No. We can't stop here.
Let's just evaluate it. Just see. So you're doing really well when we add in every combo of king queen.
Try king, queen of diamonds, and let's just see how bad
think
that makes everything.
King queen. I just cannot imagine villain jamming every king queen.
Yeah.
But
okay. Hey. Okay. Wait, let's take out ace queen and just maybe he doesn't jam ace queen. That would be I don't think we can make it now, but
You're there. You need 44% plus. Now, what happens if they jam jacks?
oh,
Barely there. 44.6.
it wasn't even hard.
Yeah, not bad. They have all ace queen. You're there too. So, I think you're there.
Thank God he only had 3x spot behind.
What's really funny is like you need 44. You've got 44.7. No matter kind of what I input there, you've got around like 44 to 45% equity. So like essentially you could just do whatever you want. And I mean,
do whatever you want.
Yeah, like I mean, it's like really close to break even.
It seems like there's a clear answer. You need 44. We have 44.7.
Well, I actually don't know what if Hold'em manager's like rounding up or rounding down. What if it's 44.9?
Well, then we take out ace queen or jacks or something. Whatever we need to take out from the.
Well, it's always more fun to call than to fold, and it's just super close spot either way. So.
Yeah, so I did all the rough math and figured out I probably have around like 44.7 here facing this, but facing this jam, and so
I did it in game.
Yeah.
On the fly.
Yeah, not knowing how much equity I even needed to call.
Well, the turn's a 6 of spades. The river's a queen of diamonds, so that's a good river.
That was the most beautiful river.
Yeah. That's a good river.
I don't know if this was a punt, but it sure doesn't feel like it for these 5 seconds.
Yeah. The villain has queens. Interesting hand. I don't really know what to think of villain's jam.
I've never seen someone jam the flop in this situation. Or like a reg jam the flop, I guess, in this situation.
Right. Well, now you have.
Interesting hand to do it with too, right? I don't know. Maybe I like way too much weird stuff that I see, but I kind of like this.
I bet you do. I don't know. Like, I don't really know what to make of it. Honestly, I think like the problem is like, does ace jack call all in? I don't know. Like, I mean,
how could you not?
Well, you need 44% equity to win. So let's go back to trusty old Equilab. And we'll just say ace jack. There you go.
Okay, so you shouldn't call with ace jack, but I think in game, almost everybody would just call it off with ace jack, which is kind of why I like the queens. Like, I don't know. I just think that I'd call it off way too light here, thinking like, oh, well, they just have enough king queen and diamond hands, and yeah, of course Jack X has to call. Like, I think I would fall into that trap facing this jam.
Yeah, well, maybe that's why you like it, but I think like ace jack should just be a fold personally. Like I think like the range in which they're jamming just has too much equity. Like, we need 44%, we have 36. It's like quite a major mistake calling with ace jack. So, you know, I think that's probably what it hinges on, right? Like, how often does Jack X call? Because like if the jam just folds out ace jack, and you get called when villain like has a set, or has some kind of combo draw, then jamming goes significantly down in value. I would imagine, right? So it all really just hinges on like how often villains are going to call with like a hand like ace jack. So yeah, if you think that they're going to call often, but I mean, what's stopping like ace jack from calling a normal size bet
and then just calling a normal big bet on the turn, and then
right? Yeah. Like, I mean, you know, that's also a possible line. So.
Okay. Let me make some arguments for this queens guy on this very dynamic board. There's going to be quite a few runouts where either you're not comfortable jamming queens or ace jack is not comfortable calling off. This one is a great example.
On the turn? The turn's a 6 of spades.
Maybe not the turn, but you're not going to jam the turn. Probably not.
I wouldn't jam the flop, and here it is. So I don't know. Like who knows what this wild character is going to do on the turn.
Yeah, but every 7-9 queen diamond turn is
Yeah,
kind of
so
action showing.
basically what you're saying is we need to structure our strategy in such a way so that on different turn cards we don't have an uncomfortable decision to make. Right? Is that
Look, I'm
is
just
that the
saying I
plan?
can see on this very, very wet board, I can see what this guy was thinking, or I hope that's what he was thinking, and he's not just a fish that just thought, wow, I have an overpair all in.
I really hope it was just a fish. And granted, I would imagine that them being a fish is a much higher probability than them being a reg, considering you've never seen this action taken before ever.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've played 3-bet pots versus overpairs on boards just like this, where they've had a hand just like this probably hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. Yeah.
So perfect
Anyway,
though. Black queens on Jack 10 8.
Anytime you make an argument for don't know what to do on turns, or maybe ace jack doesn't call on a bad turn like that, I think the argument is just kind of flawed from the jump.
Sure.
So
Yeah. I was trying pretty hard to
yeah,
help this
you're
guy
trying
out.
real hard this episode. Thinking outside the box. Gonna add the 3x jam. Gonna bet the turn in hand number 1.
You like how I put the hand that we won at the end so that we can start a new streak instead of putting the one that I got stacked at the end? And
Is it a streak? You didn't even make it a whole episode. It's
Well,
a 0.5 streak.
yeah, it's a 0.5 streak.
Half 0.5 episodes without incident. Now we'll see where it goes next week. That's
Gotta
all I
start
got.
somewhere. See you next week.
See you next week.
Thanks for listening to Chasing Poker Greatness. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts or on your favorite podcast app. Go to chasingpokergreatness.com to get the newsletter. Join the Greatness Village community, book a coaching session, or dive into the latest data-driven poker courses. Follow the show on Twitter at CPG Podcast.